Pretty much the first Wampanoag that ever walked through these walls. No, I'm just kidding. It's been about 400 years though.
Calling all history buffs and Shakespeare fans, the two-time Emmy-nominated travel adventure series Hit and Run History has announced the first open-air screening of its newest film, Stephano, the true story of Shakespeare's Shipwreck.
Our latest, it's Stephano, the true story of Shakespeare's Shipwreck. It's based upon focusing on Stephen Hopkins, the only passenger aboard the Mayflower who had been to North America before. This is the story of a person who not only went to Virginia and then returned to England and then was aboard the Mayflower when it came 400 years ago, but also on his way to Virginia, the ship was wrecked and all the passengers and crew ended up stranded on Bermuda. And let's say the misadventures of that story found its way back to England before any of the passengers did, and it became the basis of Shakespeare's final solo play, The Tempest.
Upon this river dwelleth Massasoit. It cometh into the sea at the Narragansett Bay where the Frenchmen so much use.
A dreadful storm and hideous began to blow from out the northeast.
Take in the topsail, tend to the master's whistle, blow till thou burst thy wind, broom and up!
To make Stephano, producer Andrew Buckley and his team made several international stops, following in the footsteps of Stephen Hopkins.
It's not just the story of Stephen Hopkins as he goes from England to Bermuda to Jamestown back to England and to and on the Mayflower back to Plymouth again. It's the story of us following the story. So you are when you're watching this, you're basically become a member of the crew, the film crew, and you will. And we make discoveries all along the way, talking to local historians. So it's like really a personal tour through this person's story.
For Andrew Buckley, Stephano's story has both historical and personal significance.
My middle name is Giles. I am named after Giles Hopkins, the son of Stephen Hopkins. Giles was 13 when he came over on the Mayflower. My mother is a Hopkins who grew up on Hopkins Lane in East Orleans. So basically my family came to Plymouth 400 years ago and had enough of that, did not go west, went east instead, and spent the next 400 years living very quiet lives on the Outer Cape.
Hunting down the true story of Shakespeare's Tempest revealed the importance of lesser-known figures in our nation's history.
We often look at, the great men of history. We often look at them and say, well, if it wasn't for George Washington, everything would be different. But also, it's often people who play smaller roles, and meaning just like you and me, we never know what role we're going to play in a story that's told 400 years from now.
Stephano, the true story of Shakespeare's Shipwreck, is playing at a pop-up drive-in Tuesday, July 28th at the Cape Cod Community Media Center in Dennisport. To learn more, visit Hit and Run History on Facebook. For Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rawson.